Hi, I'm Tina Litster at Searcy Creek Boutique. Our mission is to empower you to courageously create. We created these kits for you to eliminate the guesswork and to give you the tools, the knowledge, and the courage to create your own work of art. Hi, welcome to another wreath making video. Today we're going to make a cascade wreath. And you can do this with different flowers than what I have, or you can buy a kit from my Etsy shop that comes complete with written instructions and all of the materials that you'll need. So whether you're doing it with materials that you have on hand or buying my Etsy kit, let's get started. We start with an 18-inch grapevine wreath, a round one. This one is actually more oval, but a round wreath. You have two beautiful, from the kit, you have two beautiful burgundy peonies, several of these hydrangea bunches. These have multiple colors on them and they're just so stunning. We have these berry picks that actually have multiple colors on them. They're very much the same colors as the hydrangeas. And baby's breath buds. You can buy any kind of buds for these, but I like these because they give it a very airy look with all of these dramatic flowers. We use a vine plant. This looks a little bit like a fern, but I actually don't know what kind it is, but it's a vining plant that gives it a nice droopy hanging feeling. That's for the cascade. We have nice dark green ivy, and then we have ficus branches. These ficus branches have maroon on the back side too to tie the whole thing together. It's a very stunning, very dramatic look. So let's get started. The first thing, your wreath probably has some junk in it. Most of the wreaths that we can buy now do have these dead leaves that are twined into it. If that bothers you, pick them out. If it doesn't bother you, it doesn't matter. Won't change the building of it or the structure of it, but pick them out if you don't like them. It may also have some pine needles in it. They often do. But you need to find the part of your wreath that you like the best, the one that has the part that has the best shape, so the best form, and the twigs the way you like them. Turn it over, have a look at it, try it at different angles, and twist it around and see if you can find the side that you like the best. Again, mine is very squashed, so I'm going to have to compensate for that with all of the stuff that I put on. But the part of the wreath that shows is from about 1 o'clock until about 5 o'clock. So you want the prettiest part to be about there. So I like this, but when I turn it over, see, I really like these twiny things, but it's so squashed there that I just don't think I can use them. I'm not going to be able to compensate for that side as well. So I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to use this section right here. So I'm going to have this section show from this big twig to this big twig is where I'm going to have it showing. So I want to set my wreath up. So the part that you want to show is between 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock, right here and here on your right. And so you'll build it with it sitting like that. The very first thing we do, we take a ficus stem, a long one, and we poke it straight down, straight into it at 6 o'clock. You go into the bottom part of the wreath down here. I'll scoot it up so you can see. And you just poke it straight in. Now that is going to show you 6 o'clock all the time. So whenever you're repositioning your wreath, you want that to be right at 6 o'clock. Then we place the rest of the ficus leaves around the wreath, evenly spaced but not too uniform. You want to mirror nature, and nature doesn't grow in perfect lines. You want the very last of the ficus leaves to end at about 1 o'clock. So this would look pretty right here. just poke the stem into the twigs of the wreath as well as you can and help them follow the form. Now, you notice I'm really squashed over here. It's almost flat, almost makes a D. So I have to compensate for that by making this nice and round, by filling out this side over here to compensate for how squashed it is. You do that beginning with the ficus leaves. So you see how I don't put them straight on the top of it because that's just going to accentuate how flat that is. You put them out a little to the side to show more body coming out around here. Okay, I like that placement. So now that I like it and it has brought the side of the wreath out around so it's a nice round side, then I take my, and I have one little two leaf thing here. I'm going to just poke right in there. It doesn't have much of a stem on it, but that's the beauty of hot glue. It doesn't need to have much of a stem on it. I'm just going to poke it in right there. Okay, so now with your glue gun, you just retract the stem a tiny bit, pull some glue in around where the stem and the twigs of the wreath make contact, and then push it back in to just make really good contact. And go systematically around your wreath so that you don't miss any important stems. You don't want them to come loose in the wind or gravity or, you know, moving it, whatever. Secure it in well. Okay. The next thing we put in, pick out any glue strings. There will always be glue strings anytime you use hot glue, and if you pick them out as you go, then you don't have some missing that you'll miss. So many of anyway. You always miss some. The next thing are the ivy vines. Again, take one and stick it straight in at the bottom at 6 o'clock. You want this to be a lot of variation down here. So it's following in at 6 o'clock. And then the others, just kind of fill in blanks. I want one that goes near the top again so that I have variation of texture and color at the top and the bottom, and then filling in the blanks all the way through the wreath. That's good. Some of them have kind of soft stems and some are nice and stiff, but they'll all work just fine. Again, bring your leaves out to the side here to compensate for that squashed shape. And I think I want more right in here. So now you see none of it is terribly full and voluminous, but it's evenly spaced. So if you like where those are placed, again, glue them in place. You'll have to lift other branches out of the way and kind of fiddle with, you know, trying not to get glue on the other leaves. But glue them all in place the same way you did the ficus branches. Now I want to tuck some of this ivy in under the ficus so that it doesn't stick out further from it, but it looks like it actually grew together like that. Pull off your glue strings. The next thing we add are these ferny looking things, vine things, whatever they are. And again, find one that's long and droopy, long and hangy. It's a little too much. I want this single one. And I'm going to put this single one so that it also goes right down here at 6 o'clock. this is the formation of the cascade. So you need to have, it's a big focal point on your wreath. It's where your eye actually ends. So it gives your eye that nice fluid movement. I want a longer one in there. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to clip off one so that I can use it somewhere else. And I'm going to put it right down here because I actually want it to hang down below the ficus. It's the very end of the tail of these. So I want it to hang down far enough to extend below the ficus. Not by very much, but just a little. Then again, bring these around so that they fill out with texture and color in different places in your wreath. You really want these to show, so don't bury them in with the other leaves too much. See, this is a long hanging one. I actually don't want any other long hanging ones. I want short hanging ones, but I don't want any more long hanging ones. So I'm going to clip that off and use it in two different places. Use one up here. Now this has a really short stem on it now, but that's okay because you have hot glue. I'm going to poke it into here, and it's going to kind of hang down in the middle there. And then this one, I want to hang down on the outside. And then I have one more. I'm just going to put it kind of right in the middle of the wreath. Okay, so now we have those spaced out evenly. I like it. I'm going to glue them in. Make sure again that you do this systematically so that you don't lose any or that you don't secure any. You want them all secured. So before you move on, you want to first pick off glue strings that you find. You'll always be finding more glue strings, they're everywhere. And then once the glue has had a bit of time to cool and harden, you want to tug on each thing a little bit just to make sure that nothing is going to come loose. So I actually tug on them. Now see, the glue hadn't dried on that one. I needed to give it a little bit more time. So don't tug on the vine ones yet, or the ferny ones. Oh, that came right off, see? So I'm going to put a pool of glue down and stick it down there so that it stays. All right, those are firm. The viney ones, because they have such thin stems, may give you a little extra trouble. You may have to re-poke them in at some point. That one's firm. That one just came off of its stem. And that one's firm now. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. Now it's time to add the color. Again, pull off glue strings. The first two flowers that we add are these. These are the focal point. Everything else kind of leads up to these with your eye following them. You may need to rearrange your bloom so that it's at its very best shape. You can sometimes twist things and fluff it so that it is at its best. Now, one bloom goes at 7 o'clock right in here. I don't like how long that is. So it kind of goes right in the front, right at 7 o'clock. See that? So this is 6 o'clock and this is 9 o'clock. You want it right in the front at 7. The other one faces a little bit toward the inside and it goes right at 9 o'clock. So right here, kind of a little forward, but also a little toward the inside. So that's where I want these two. Everything else in the wreath is built around that, and then your eye comes around here and it just follows it down, and it makes your eye, it's pleasing to the eye when it is orderly like that. So again, glue these in place by retracting them just a tiny bit and then putting glue where it meets the twigs and pushing them back into their spot. Okay. The hydrangeas are next. Now these hydrangeas, we have large bunches and small bunches. Separate them out. We'll put the large bunches in first and the small bunches in second. So we have 3 large bunches. We want the bunches to be right around these peonies. The peonies are very dark, and the leaves are dark, so they would really disappear if you didn't back them up with something light and really give them a color pop to focus our eye on those. So basically, we're just putting them in around the peonies. See, we have them in between the 2 peonies, and then one on the left of the 9 o'clock one and one above the 9 o'clock one. The other hydrangeas are going to be placed strategically around. One is going to be at the bottom of this peony. Then there will be another one up here to give it some more color. A second one at the top. And this one, basically, you're going to want it up here. I don't want more bulk down here, so I'm not going to put any more flowers down here. But it does need some color up at the top up here. So that looks really good to me. So we're going to glue these in now. Now these stems, they hardly have a stem at all. You can see it's very short. So you're going to have to actually just put them in place and glue around it, and just make sure that that stem adheres to the twigs of the wreath. And it will do just fine. That's just what you do when it doesn't have much of a stem to add to it. Now the more you get on your wreath, the more you'll have to pull back in order to glue something else. Take off glue strings and then fluff these flowers out so that they show their very, very best. You don't want them, they get smashed when you're working with them, it's inevitable, but then you can pull them out. Oops, see, I pulled too hard on that one. Didn't have enough glue. Okay, now it's time to add these colorful berries. You have a lot of these, so don't skimp, but find one that is kind of long. You probably want your very longest one to come down here and be a part of the cascade. Now you don't want it right on top of everything. You want it nestled inside of other things. Not buried, but nestled in. So see, I'm just going to put it right in there. I like that. And then I'm going to put a short one in here to bring a close to this. Your eye needs to bring closure to this side instead of just going jerk down. So I put one there to just blend it in. Then I want another one up at the top for the same reason. You want to have the color up at the top as well as down below. Okay, I like that. And then now these, just scatter them around in places where you feel like it just needs some color and some lightness, some variety. Because this is a very dramatic wreath, and you want to balance that drama with, and the heaviness of the drama with these light, airy berries. You do the same thing with the the baby's breath buds. You're actually balancing the dramatic nature of these flowers with something lighter. One last one. I want it right here. I like that. Now, glue these in. Again, there's a lot on your wreath now, so you're going to have to pull back a whole lot of stuff. Find the base of this stem, retract it a bit, pull glue in around the base, and then push it in to secure it. Now with these foam berries, it is inevitable that some of the berries will pop off. It's no big deal. There's enough others. And they're supposed to look kind of craggy and twiggy. That's part of what gives them their charm and their light nature. There we go. I love it. Now this came out of place. Remember, I wanted it in among the vines up here, and it just came out of its spot. So I move it back in among those, and it kind of holds everything in where I want it. Very last thing are these. I love these because they just add airiness to a very dramatic floral arrangement. So again, beginning with down here at 6 o'clock, you put some in. I don't want these down in the cascade. I want them to begin the cascade. And look for places in your wreath that just need some brightness. They just lighten things up a lot. So anything that's just looking too dark, too dense, poke these baby's breath or buds in. Right there. Right in here, it's looking very dense and dark. Okay. I want some to accentuate these beautiful peonies. So I'm going to put one right. So it kind of divides the peony from that, but just lightens it up. And another one here to divide this peony from the hydrangeas around it. Don't like how that's placed. If the stems are just too long to really be manageable, just clip them off. That's what you do. There we go, I like that. And then I could put one out here, I could put one up here, or I could put one between these two. I think I want it right here. Because there's nothing like this, no berries, no buds going on out here. And I think it would be good to fill in that area with some of this. Yep, that was the right choice. I love it. That is where I want these. So now, except that I do want one other thing. I have an extra bud here that sticks out a little far, and I want to put one right at the front edge, just kind of up here by these. I don't want it to be buried by that. They don't show enough to be able to afford to be buried. Right there. I think that finishes it off and brings the color throughout it. So now again, find the stem where it goes into the twigs of the wreath and glue it in. Okay, pick away strings, rearrange things. If you feel like you need something showing more, pull it out and tuck a leaf back in or something. Fluff out your flowers, make sure they didn't get smashed in the process. And then after everything's cooled, you want to tug on the flowers and stuff that you put in just to make sure that everything is secure. See, these ficus are very bold right up at the top there. I kind of want to tuck them in so that they're not such a bold focal point. So I can tuck them in and tuck other things around so that it looks a little bit less ficus-y and a little bit more of the other elements. And then you can actually glue that in place just by adding some glue at the stem and a twig and secure it the way you wanted it. Okay, I love it. I hope you do too. I hope you can see that that is doable. You don't have to be a professional florist to make a beautiful floral arrangement. There are easy things to do to make it beautiful, and if you just follow a formula and do it a little at a time and trust your eye. If your eye says something looks weird, it probably does. Move it. If it says that looks good to me, it probably looks good. Keep it. Have a great day, and I hope to see you again in my wreath making videos. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed making this wreath with me. Remember to like the video and subscribe to my channel below. And for more creative surprises, visit my website and my Etsy shop at the addresses shown. See you next time.